Hey, my name is Joao, and my artist name is Glas, and I did the musical score for Eldred. When Jack first came to me and asked me if I'd be interested and showed me some of the footage he was working with, I immediately, I was super down, first of all, because it looked and felt incredible, but also I knew exactly what I wanted it to sound like, as did Jack, and he had such a clear vision, and I also had a very clear vision, and our visions just happened to match up perfectly. And I think that was just a result of the visual aspect being so focused and being so palatable and just being so detailed and textured, and it was just all very clear. Everything about it. It was just so easy to hear it as you see it. And I immediately knew that I wanted it to be acoustic guitar, as did Jack. He knew he wanted it to be guitar oriented and very minimal. And all I had at the time, I was home at my parents' house for the holidays, and I just had this 12-string guitar. So I took the every other string off of it so that it would just be a normal guitar. And it's actually this one right here. So the entire score was just made with this one guitar and an electric guitar, which is this one. And yeah, the whole thing was basically done with one microphone, and I just set the microphone up in my childhood room at my parents' house, and I had this super simple rig that I recorded most of the music. The piano stuff was just my dad's piano. I recorded it all with my iPhone. I just set the iPhone up right next to the keys and voice memoed all the piano parts. I think mostly everything was done in 1 or 2 takes. It was just so clear. I remember just watching the visuals as I played whatever I was playing, and I would just let the visuals tell me what to do, you know? And that's how a lot of it came about. It was all very reactionary. I was just reacting to the footage. And freestyling a lot of it. It was just playing what felt good while watching the scene. And Jack and I would go back and forth, and I would send him stuff, and he would send me new cuts, and we realized that everything was just fitting really well. And yeah, I just kept rolling with it. And I think it took a couple months to finish everything, just because, once I had everything recorded, I wanted to make sure that it was polished and up to par with the visuals. So, but overall, a very easy and natural and free-flowing process. And then I got back to New York, and I added a few more things. Jack came over, we kind of went over detail-oriented stuff. We added flourishes here and there, and then did everything here in my apartment, and that was it. So for the sound design and the sound mixing, it was almost the opposite from the music, because it was my first time doing sound design at such an extensive level. Working with dialogue, working with outdoor ambiance, working with mixing all of that in with the music, and mixing all of that in with just every small little detail. Everything you hear had to be, mixed and worked on in one way or another. And that proved very tedious, but also one of the things I'm most proud of that I've ever worked on, just because I didn't really understand the work that went into sound design until this project. And I think that we're both very detail-oriented people, and as a result, we were focusing on every millisecond, and Jack's ear is insane. So I would send him a mix, and he would send me notes and be like, hey, at the 4-minute mark, there's a little water sound that wasn't there before. What was the intent of including that water sound? Or let's, mix that a little differently. And Jack definitely brought the very best out of me in that regard because, like I said, we're both very detail oriented. I thought I was extremely detail oriented. He's even more so than I am, and so that was just. I mean, I came out of that experience with an even higher level of awareness for detail. The inspiration for the music, aside from the visuals alone, it was just the story is a story of how the past affects the present in a way that I had already kind of explored in my own music, so it all felt very linear with where my head was at the time. And so I listened to a lot of stuff that I listened to while I was growing up, a lot of like Elliott Smith and Sufjan Stevens, to try to get into that frame of mind again, the headspace of being with my friends, and then what that headspace would be like if I was to reconnect with people from my past under very specific and not the best circumstances. And so, yeah, I definitely think like the somber Elliott Smith and Sufjan Stevens essence helped me in that way. We were also trying to explore these two different ideas, the idea of something that's very like organic and very like rooted in reality and in nature itself, and the other side of that, which is like a little more ethereal, a little more artificial, or not necessarily artificial, but just dreamlike, and I think we accomplished that through mixing the acoustic instruments like the piano or acoustic guitar with like an electric guitar. So we would take like an electric guitar and we would run it through crazy reverbs and process it through like all sorts of weird stuff to get more of an unnatural sound, and I think that was like the dichotomy and like the combination that we were striving for was those two things interplaying with each other, scene to scene and also within the same scene, using those two things, those two elements together, which I think the film itself does so well visually and thematically. I was just trying to, make sure that the music itself also supports that idea.